Loyal Link brand, and tonight's gonna be a special one. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lenny. I'm with the Loyal Link brand, and I made a post about an hour ago. Actually, I don't know if it's been a full hour, but I fair warned all my followers on TikTok. So, like I say all the time, my main channel is on TikTok. It's not on YouTube. I'm actually just starting from scratch on this YouTube. But on my TikTok that has the same username as this YouTube channel, it's Loyal Link Lenny, right? Loyal Link underscore Lenny, right? We're almost at 5K followers. So just gonna stop and take this time to celebrate that, because when I started making content about a year ago, I never would have thought I'd be reaching so many people. I mean, almost 5,000 people, but not just that. The Most High God has been using my testimony and just overall my experience, my wisdom, and all the gifts that He's given me to reach a lot of people. You know, over 100,000 people. I got people that message me every single day, and it's to the point now where I can't get to every single one of them. I can't save everyone. You know, I try my best and I do the best that I can do. But yeah, guys, new levels, new devils. And I'm also going through more heavier attacks right now too, because of the impact I'm having. I've just recently, about 2 or 3 days ago, found one of my followers put me on to another copycat, right? So I'm at the level now with my content that I'm having people steal my videos, my ideas. Like this person, I didn't even know this person. It was a straight rando, right? Took my whole viral video that I got like 114,000 views on, took my voice, took my whole video, right? And made it into his video. And basically it was like a copycat that he got like, you know, a few thousand likes on, couple hundred comments. And listen, I mean, I don't really have a problem. Like, I don't care, but it's like the only thing I do have a problem with about these copycats and these people that are stealing my content and my messages and all that stuff. The only problem I have with that is that they're misleading people. Hi, how you guys doing? So, those of you that don't know me, I'm Lenny. Yeah, I'm having a really good day. I'm not just having a good day, but I'm gonna get into that. I've been having, these past 2 weeks have probably been the best weeks I've had in a very long time. Because things they've been elevating for me, right? My clarity has definitely been, everything is just overall leveled up. So that's what I'll say about that. Happy birthday. But basically what I was saying about this copycat that one of my followers just put me onto, if you guys missed what I said, I'm talking about on my TikTok, because that's my main platform right now, that we're almost at 5,000 followers. So anyways, they stole my whole viral video, and my only problem was, like, I don't really care about them stealing my video. Like, I don't care. They took my whole voice or whatever, right? But it's like, the only thing I have a problem with is they're deceiving people. So they're deceiving people like you guys. So like a lot of victims and a lot of people are commenting on that video and thinking it's me. So they're thinking that they're engaging with me, and they're thinking that these are people that really aren't at the same level that some of us are at when it comes to being healed, when it comes to like going through what a lot of us have gone through, right? That's okay, but that's rude. Yeah, it's very rude. You know what I'm saying? It's deeper than that, though. It's not just rude. When someone, I've learned, right? If you know about destiny swapping, if you're a spiritual person, this is a form of destiny swapping. It's like when someone's trying not to just steal your ideas, but they're trying to steal your your whole personality. You're like, this person stole my whole voice. Like my whole voice. Not just my message, not just the video, but my voice, and tried to come off as me. Tried to act like it was me, right? So I just felt bad, bro, because a lot of people, hundreds of people were commenting, thinking that thinking that it was me, right? Because my message was to anybody that's been dealing with gang stalking and and basically I broke down a lot of good information about it. So I broke down what it's about, what's going on, and it went viral. So that's my video that just went viral recently, with over 100,000 views. So a lot of people, I'm starting to get copycats now. I'm starting to get people stealing my videos, and it's like I said, guys, I don't really care about the copycats, because I'm used to it. I'm used to people stealing my ideas and all this other stuff, but it's like, I feel bad for you guys, because it's like, if it's like, let's pretend like you guys are commenting on a video and you really related to it, right? And you're like, wow, I really related to that. Like, I'm going through the same thing. And you take your time and you write a whole comment sharing your testimony, and it's not even me. It's the copycat. So it's somebody that took my voice, took my video. So that's what I don't like. Because it's like, it's deceiving you guys. So I tried to expose the person, and the person blocked me immediately. I tried to call them out in the comments and say, hey man, like, yo, this isn't cool, bro. Like, it's one thing if you ask, but anyways, guys, that's all I'll say about that. Let me get into my story. So guys, the Most High has really been nudging me. For some reason, I don't even know why. A lot of the times when I get compelled, bro, by the Most High to make content, it's for reasons that I still don't understand. I hope they stop. Yeah, me too, but people are going to do what they do. You know what I'm saying, Mary? I don't try to control people. I let people do whatever they want to do. I let people believe in what they want to believe in. If they don't like me, they don't like me. And it's like, I don't focus on that, you know, like because we can't control what other people do at the end of the day, you know. A lot of people will try, like a lot of narcissists, they'll try, but it's like, you can't. It's an illusion. You can't really control what someone's doing unless you put a firearm up to their head, and you know that maybe then you'll be able to control it. But everything else is just it's a delusion. It's an illusion, right? So guys, I'm really excited about tonight because for those of you that don't know me, like I said before, I'm Lenny. I'm with the Loyal Link brand, and I'm gonna be leaving this live on my channel for everyone to watch on replay. Like I said before too, guys, I'm starting from scratch on this YouTube channel. So this is not my main channel. I'm on TikTok. If you want to go check that out, I do got a lot of powerful videos, way more better content that I have on TikTok. It's the same username as my YouTube channel, but it's an underscore. So it's Loyal Link _ Lenny. All right, now that I got that out of the way, guys, let me start with my full testimony, and we might be here for a while, right? Because I got ADHD, so I always get sidetracked. Like, if I'm like, I also got PTSD too, but so I'm gonna be trying to remember everything. And you got to understand, some of us have been through so much that it's very difficult to sit here and try to bring back those memories. So it's like, I got to start from the beginning, but I might be going back and forth. I might be going back to, you know, from the beginning to the end, to the middle, you know what I'm saying? So it might be a little everywhere. So guys, at the very beginning, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, right? I was born in Mass, and basically, I grew up in a, how you guys know? I grew up in a very bad environment. My mother was an addict, right? So my mother was an addict. My father was never in the picture, right? So I grew up in Section 8 housing, straight the hood, the ghetto, where people were getting bodied every day, and crime was rampant and drugs were rampant. Like, that's where That was the first few years of my life. You know what I'm saying? So this is when I'm really young, right? So at the time when I was first born to where I was 9 years old, I was living in Dorchester with my mother, right? So I was with my mother in her Section 8, right? Section 8 apartment. And basically, I'm not gonna be able to go into every fucked up thing that happened, right? But a lot of fucked up things happened, right? There was basically, my mother's house was always a trap house. So it's like she was always doing drugs. A lot of other people, there was a lot of gangs around, so there was always gangs around. Like most of my family was in the crime, right? The gang members, mafia, drug addicts, felons. So it's like that's what I thought was normal, right? So when I got born into that, and this is why I say all the time, bro, you can't judge people, bro, because a lot of people were born into that shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't judge anyone anyways, because I know I have no place to judge. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I've never thought like that anyways. I look at people and I know how hard life is, and I know how dark life can get. And I know basically how life feels when you don't have anybody to count on, no support. Like, you're out here, you know, no one's coming to save you or nothing, right? So it's like, I understand that. So I would never sit here and talk down on you and do all this little soft shit that people do. And it's like they talk about stuff they've never been through, or they would never be able to handle. And these people are just, you can't even listen to them at the end of the day, because they have no idea what they're talking about. It's like, are you going to listen to someone that's telling you about sports, but they've never watched sports in their life? You're not going to listen to them, right? Right. So are you going to listen to someone that's talking about you and talking about the things that you've been through, but they've never been through that? Or they've never experienced that? They have no idea what they're talking about. So it's like everything they could say is just like, oh, I would have did this, or I would have did that. Like, it's like, but you didn't, because you don't know what you're talking about, right? So, guys, that was my childhood at the beginning. I remember I wasn't being monitored like 99% of the time, because my mother's smoking crack and doing hard drugs in her room, right? She got the door locked. I remember being like 5, 6 years old, running around Dorchester. I remember missing 108 days of school, right? 108 days of school in elementary school, I remember missing. So eventually what ended up happening is DSS got involved. So DSS ended up getting involved. And if you don't know what DSS is, it's basically child care services. So child care services ended up getting involved. And that's when my life was changed forever. So I ended up getting thrown into the system at a very, very young age, right? Somewhere in between, maybe like, I would say 7 to 9 years old, maybe, right? So I'm being put in foster cares, foster homes, group homes at such a young age. And that's already, like, if you know, that's already traumatizing to a kid, right? Because as a kid, you don't really understand what's going on. You don't understand why you're getting taken out of your mother's house. Like, at that time, I didn't know how fucked up my mother was. I just seen it as, why are you taking me? Like, why can't I go home? Like, why can't I go to mom? Like, so as a kid, I'm thinking that, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know my mother was on hard drugs, or I didn't know the shit she was involved in and shit like that. Like, right? So it's like, it caused me to like lash out as a kid, right? Like any kid would, it's normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get taken out of your home, bro, and your whole life gets turned over. You're gonna lash out, bro. It's a normal reaction. So as a kid, I had a lot of anger issues and shit, because I mean, like, look what happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I used to lash out. I could not control my anger at all when I was a kid, because I mean, nobody taught me how to. So I would always lash out in these foster homes, and I would get kicked out of the foster homes, guys. I remember being in like over 13 foster homes, like over 20 group homes, and I got kicked out like for many, many reasons. For violent acts, right? I'd punch staff members in the face. I'd be fighting kids my whole childhood, bro. Like, I used to just get into like 4 or 5 fights a day for no reason. Just because I was bored, right? I was young and I was just like, I was lashing out, right? I wanted to go home. I wanted to go back to my mother's, and I didn't understand at that time that she was basically a piece of shit, you know? So basically what ended up happening, which was like one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life, and this is where I honestly think that, you know, my good heart comes from, and how I'm very respectful and very well mannered. I should have stayed in that crosswalk. I probably could have got a lawsuit if I let him hit me, but but anyways, right? Now this is the reason why I think I'm like very well mannered and very respectful, and where I get my good qualities from was from my grandparents. So my papa, he's also from Roxbury, Massachusetts. So he's from Roxbury, Boston, right? And he basically decided, well, he originally was going to take my older brother, right? Because my older brother was in the system as well, right? So my older brother, Antonio, got taken away from my mother's as well, right? He got taken away first. I remember still going to see him. Like, I remember going to visit him and stuff. Like, I just remember it in like very vivid detail. But then sometimes, like, if you guys don't know how PTSD works, sometimes I won't remember it. Like, sometimes it will come to me, and then sometimes I'll sit here and I'll be stuttering, and I won't know how to articulate it like I'm doing right now. That's just how it is, right? That's what happens when you've been through like thousands of traumatic things that normal people just haven't been through. You know what I'm saying? Like, and back then I used to think everybody went through the shit I went through. And it's like, I was like, oh, wait, you haven't gone through that? You've never been shot at? No one's tried to end your life before? And they're like, no, what the fuck? And it's like, I used to think that was normal, because that's what I was taught was normal, you know? So I'm going to eventually get into that too. So we're getting into that. So I'm getting bounced around. So let's backtrack a little bit. I get taken out of my mother's home, right? I get taken out of my mother's house in Dorchester, Mass. Now, I'm legally in the system as a kid, as a minor, right? So I'm about somewhere between 7 and 9 years old. And basically what happens is, after I bounce around from a few foster homes and a few group homes in Mass, I remember I was with this foster family who, they were a really nice family. I still remember them because they taught me how to ice skate. So it was a blonde lady named Becky, and it was a foster dad named Mike, right? So Becky and Mike, I remember it clear as day, which is crazy. So Becky and Mike was like the last foster home I was in Massachusetts, and they were really good to me, right? They actually wanted to adopt me, just like a lot of other foster families did. But I was a rebel, bro. I wasn't letting no one take me in. I wanted to go back to my family, and there was nothing that was gonna stop me from doing that, right? So, but I remember them. Becky and Mike were really, really nice. They were really, really good people. They were very patient with me, right? They taught me how to ice skate. So they taught me how to ice skate. I remember it, right? Taught me how to rollerblade and stuff. So this is the one good thing that happened, and I'll always be grateful for. And nobody can ever take away from me. It's my papa wanted to originally take my brother Antonio, but now my biological grandmother, which I call my Mimi, right? So my dad's mom didn't let that happen, because she said she wanted to take my older brother. So she wanted to take my older brother instead. So they weren't able to do that. So instead, my papa decided to take me, right? To get custody of me. And at that time, he was remarried to my grandmother, right? So, which is like my step grandmother, but she's still my grandmother, you know? Um, and they basically, to try to give me a better life, right? To try to like get me out of Boston and basically give me a normal life. They took me and they moved to Nashua, New Hampshire. So we moved to New Hampshire, and guys, this was like the best few years like I remember in my life. Like this was like some of the few best years I ever got to experience, right? I got to be like a normal kid for like a few years. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it was only like 3 or 4 years, but it's like still, I still got to be a normal kid, and a lot of people didn't get that, bro. A lot of people didn't get that chance, right? So it's like what ended up happening is I was coming from fucking Dorchester, and like I was a crazy like white boy dude. I was like doing crazy shit, right? Like I had a whole bunch of I was wilding out and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm coming from the environment at my mother's house and all this like violence and all this other stuff, right? So it's like my papa basically had to teach me right from wrong. He had to teach me like, nah, that's wrong. Like I was at the dinner table, like, pass the fucking food, like give me the fucking this, pass the fucking potatoes, and they're like, yo, what? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I would talk, because that's like how I was brought up. That's like how, you know, I didn't know any better. So it's like they had to really teach me right from wrong, and it's like that's where I think I got such a good heart. Like I'm obviously I'm still such a kind person. I care very deeply about people, you know, so, and I think they're the reason for that, you know. So basically they took me in, we moved to Nashua, New Hampshire. I started to go to school in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I was getting in trouble already off the rip, right? Because I'm coming from Dorchester schools, and like basically the environment I just told you about. So I'm like wilding out. I'm like getting into fights in school. I'm like throwing desks at teachers and shit. You know, like doing crazy shit, right? So it's like, yo, what ended up happening is I ended up getting put back in the system, right? Because I was wilding out, and my grandmother apparently decided that she was struggling with mental health issues too. Like she went to like the loony bin like one time and shit. So she's done a lot for me too though. So I would never like speak bad about her, but she was struggling too. So what ended up happening is the plan was for me to go into a group home for like a year, and then like when everything was good, I was supposed to go back with, you know, my papa, and everything was supposed to go back to normal. And this was like what we call in life a fork road. You know, like a fork road. Like you guys ever seen the Butterfly Effect movie? Like where like there's pivotal moments in your life, and where your life goes in a completely different direction. Well, this is one of the fork roads in my life, right? So what ended up happening is before I could move back in to my papa, which if my papa didn't pass away so suddenly, right? He passed away really suddenly when I was young. And that was like the first death that I experienced at a young age that messed me up, right? So when he passed away suddenly too, my papa was a vet too. He served in the Vietnam War and stuff like that. He's a really good man, right? He's a very quiet man he was a former alcoholic too. He turned his life around and basically was like, I don't know, like 25 years sober or 30 years sober or something. But anyways, he's a good man, right? And he did his best with me too. He took me in to give me a better life. And basically what ended up happening is he got sick randomly. And then he passed away. And what ended up happening because of him passing away, I got trapped in the system in New Hampshire. So him dying basically sealed my fate in a whole nother state that I'm not even from, bro. So it's like I had to basically grow up in the foster care system, and that didn't, I'm going to get into that too, right? So basically foster homes, group homes, kid jail, like that was my whole childhood, bro. I didn't have a normal childhood like everyone else did, right? That's why like I try to tell people, bro, I'm like, yo, you don't know how fortunate you are, bro. Like some of us didn't get none of that, bro. Like, we didn't have a normal childhood, bro. Like, we had staff members, like random like adults, bro, that would sit there with a notepad, bro, and start writing shit down you do and all this other shit, right? So it's like, that was the rest of my life for the next few years. So after my papa died, right? That shit gave me, I think that was like the first cause of like my anger, when I really started to develop like this rage I had inside of me as a kid, guys. And I was like spending all day fighting. Like, when I say all day fighting, I'd be fighting every day. Like, fighting staff members, fighting grown-ass men in the foster homes, in the group homes. I beat up my foster brother. I got kicked out of that foster home. I tried to do crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I can say it on YouTube, because I don't want to get whatever. But yeah, like, really laid on violent shit. I was basically lashing out as a kid, you know? So basically, that was my life. That was my childhood. In basically childcare services, bouncing around from foster homes, bouncing around from group homes, right? And then like the way like we were treated in these foster homes and group homes is a whole nother story. Like, you guys gotta understand, like, if we didn't do what these staff members said, guys, I was getting my arm bent around my head. I was getting my head smacked against the ground every single day by grown-ass men, by whole response teams. Like, yo, if I wild out, I literally had a response team in the program that was like huge fucking 6 foot like something black dudes that would come over and smash my ass, bro. They would come over and full-blown tackle me across the thing. That's how bad that they considered me like a top-level threat in the program. Like, bro, like, yo, I remember, so, right, so, my response team was this, which is actually, I was cool with him, too, so his name was JJ, right, and what's actually fucking crazy about this is he used to play on the Cowboys, bro, so he was like I think he was like a bench warmer or something, but still, he played on the Cowboys, and then there was another dude named Watson. Guys, I'm like going toe-to-toe with, like, fucking, former NFL players, dude. And it's like, I can't even throw a punch. So when I go to punch someone in the head, like, I'm already getting, like, full-blown tackled across the yard, dude. Or across the, like, cafeteria. So it's like, it's crazy, right? So that was, like, my response team I had in the program, right? I think at this time, I think I was, like, 16, I think. Probably, like, 15, 16, right, guys? But I was bad. Right? Because as a kid, I think I understood that none of it mattered. So I'm like, I knew as a kid, I'm like, bro, I can't go home. They're not going to let me go back to my mother's. They're not going to let me see my family. So I'm like, I'm going to fuck shit up then. And I was just fighting kids every day, like, doing crazy, like, guys, I could sit here probably for, like, days and nights telling you about all the shit I did, right? I used to pull the fire alarms just to hang out with the girls and shit, right? Because they had the girls on, like, the girls' dorms and shit, right? So I was dating, like, one of the baddest chicks in the program, right? Her name was Courtney, right? So I was, like, fucking with her, and I pulled the fire alarm, right? So, yo, just so I could hang out with her and shit, right? And, yo, this shit was mad funny, right? So I pulled the fire alarm, and she comes out. She was in a shower, dude. So she was in, like, a towel, and she looked mad as fuck. She goes, yo, what fucking asshole pulled the fire alarm? And I'm, like, over there scratching my head. I'm like, I don't know who did that. Yo, fuck that guy. Fuck whoever did that. Fuck that guy. It was literally me, bro. Yo, she's like, whoever fucking did that is a piece of shit. And I was just like, yeah, that's crazy. Yo, it was me the whole time, bro. Yo, so guys, like, that was like my childhood, right? So being bounced around from like foster homes, group homes, and like another thing is too, like if we wanted to like go out in the world, like this shit was like, it was like jail, bro. So it's like if we wanted to go out in the community, we like had to go out in like a fucking van, bro, and then we'd have staff members with us, right? It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, yo, we couldn't even like, it would just look crazy. Like, we'd chill with other people, but it would look crazy because like the other normal kids and shit, like everybody else, they're like, what the fuck? Like, yo, who's that person with you? I was like, oh yeah, bro. It's like, it just, you know what I'm saying? It was like, guys, it's like, I mean, I wouldn't wish that upon nobody, bro. I wouldn't even wish that upon my enemies, bro. Because it's like, I understand how it feels, bro. I understand how it feels like wanting to be a kid, bro, and wanting to have a normal childhood, right? That's why now that I'm able, right, in my life currently right now, I like to do some of the things I never could do as a kid because I had to be an adult, bro. I had to grow up fast, and I had to like fucking be in survival mode, right? So I'm in like survival mode, fucking handling grown adult shit, and basically like going toe to toe with staff members that are like 10 years, 20 years older than me and stuff. So about the abuse too, like I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about kids getting abused in foster homes and group homes and shit. Like, yeah, bro, it happened a lot more times than most people would believe. It was so frequent that it's like most people wouldn't even bring it up because it was like a normal thing. Like, yeah, I'm getting my head rubbed against the carpets, so I got carpet burns on me, right? And by grown ass adults too, right? I'm getting my arms bent across my head, my back, right? That's why, like, I think that's why, like, I got such a high pain tolerance right now. And it's like, if I get punched in the face or if you like bend my arm in like an arm bar, it's not going to affect me like it will affect other people. Cause I'm like, bro, I did this my whole childhood, bro. You know, you don't understand. Like, people think like, oh, you think you're tough? I'm like, bro, no, it's not. I'm not tough, bro. But I mean, like, that's not going to do nothing to somebody that had that done to them way worse 100 times a day. You know, like, it's like, you're talking to someone that got put in an arm bar, like in fucking unnatural positions, dude, 20 times a day for their childhood, to the point where like the staff members were trying to cause you pain, like they were trying to hurt you, especially because they were mad, right? And did I learn? No, I did it again. Like I'm pretty sure I set the record for the most times being restrained, because that's what they call it. They call it getting restrained. So I had the record at one of my programs for the most times getting restrained, and I think it was like 41 times in one day, bro. Yo, all my friends thought I was like the fucking legend, bro. They're like, bro, how did you do that, bro? They're like, yo, you were going off, bro. They're like, you got restrained all day. I was like, I know, I was trying to prove a point. They're like, bro, I've never seen that many times someone get restrained, right? Like, yo, it was crazy. Like, I literally got restrained all fucking day. Like, and I kept trying to run away and shit. That's the number one thing, too. I used to have to, like, run away from these programs, right? So that's another thing. If I wanted to go hang out with my family, I'd have to escape. So I'm fucking over here planning, like, prison breaks in group homes. And I'm like, bro, there's a reason why I think I'm so like, well, I'm much more intelligent and I'm much more calculated and I'm much more wise than a lot of other people, is because I was doing that type of shit when I was supposed to be having a normal childhood and having fun. Like, when I was supposed to be being a normal kid, when most kids were having fun playing outside with their friends, I was literally sitting there planning fucking prison breaks and like operating a whole bunch of other kids of how to break out of a fucking restricted facility, dude. So it's like I'm coming up with strategies and like ways to escape from a fucking a lockdown group home where the doors are locked like jail, and it's like staff members or guards and they're meant to stop you by any means. And I was planning that shit. So that was my childhood. When other kids were basically, you know, having fun kicking a ball in the street, I was planning fucking prison breaks in a fucking group home, dude. And I was getting away too. So it's like, that's like where I think there's, you know what I'm saying, there's levels to this shit. But then there's other people too that are probably having to do a lot more worse shit than I had to do too. So it's like, guys, like, the only time I got to see my family like that was when I ran away from these foster homes, right? I ran away from these group homes, right? I ended up robbing one of my foster families too. So I ended up like robbing my foster family, which I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad, bro. I felt bad after it happened. I ended up, I shouldn't be laughing, this shit ain't funny, right? I was like 16, right? So, I wanted to go home, bro. So what I ended up doing when I was 16, so I was in this foster family in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I just wanted to go home, bro. So I fucking robbed their whole house. I took like every single fucking valuable in there, bro. I took their fucking the Xbox One when it just came out, right? So I took the Xbox One. I took my foster mom's Alienware computer, bro. I took like thousands of dollars worth of shit, and I ransacked the whole crib and I put it in a trash bag, and then I ran away and shit. So I do that a lot too. Like if I'm like running away from these group homes or foster homes, like I'd rob the whole place, bro. And I'd fill up a trash bag and then I'd bounce, and then I'd show up at my mother's house with a whole bunch of presents like I was Santa Claus, bro. So I'd show up at my mother's because I know my mother is a drug addict, so she would hide me too, though. So she would like hide me for, you know, like a week or 2 weeks, however long, like before like me and her started butting heads, right? Because me and my mother used to butt heads a lot. So basically what would happen is my mother would fucking, I don't know, be coming off of a high or just like start like wilding out and having an episode, bro. So basically that was my childhood. So as fucked up as it sounds, and I can keep going and tell you guys a million more stories, because it was like everyday occurrence, guys. So I fucking robbed my foster family. I did a whole bunch of fucked up shit as a kid, right? Pulled fire alarms, got restrained every day, got kicked out of foster homes, whole bunch of shit, right? Got drunk, fucking doing crazy shit, fighting kids every single day, fighting grown men, cracking shovels over people's heads, throwing bricks at people. Like that shit I was doing every single day. So now let me talk about when I aged out of the system, guys. So we're on phase 2 right now. So what ended up happening after that, and guys, I'm gonna just say again, I know I said it before, but I'm gonna leave this live on my channel so you guys can watch it, you guys can dissect it if you want. You know, I know any monitoring spirit, any weirdo, you know, I gotta help you guys out too. You know what I'm saying? I'm a good person, so I gotta help you guys out. So if you guys want, you can dissect the video, you know, go look into it. You can go fact check me if you want, right? Yeah, because you can go fact check everything I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really want to, if you got that much time, if you're that interested, you know? So what happened is I basically aged out at 17, right? I aged out at 17. They let me go a little earlier, and I made a bad choice, which at the time I didn't realize how fucked up my family was. Like, I didn't realize how truly fucked up my family was, bro. So what ended up happening is I moved back in with my mother, right? So at this time I'm starting to realize, I think like by the time I was like 14, 15, 16, 17, I finally figured out that my mother, the reason why I got taken away was because she was a drug addict, because it was like a trap house, because my mother's house was like a violent place where people got stabbed, people got beat up, people got robbed. Like, it happened all the time, right? So it's like, I like knew the truth, and that shit hurt me too as a kid, because I like remembered thinking that, oh, my mother don't give a fuck about me. Like, yo, they like, she's writing me these letters. I remember looking at all the letters she sent and realizing they were all a lie. So it's like, damn, I remember reading the letters as a kid and wondering why, like, my mother ain't coming to see me, and wondering why, like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and I read her letters, and then when I finally got the truth, it's like you realize you've been lied to. So it's like, that really hurt me too, but I still didn't care. Like, in my mind, the system and these group homes and these foster homes, in my mind, they were the enemy, right? They were the enemy, and I was mad at them, and all my hate and anger was aimed at them because it was their fault for taking me away, right? Because I didn't have the full truth yet, right? So I targeted them with my anger and basically blame them when it was my mother, bro. It was my family. So, and I didn't figure that out until a little bit after I was 18. So I age out of the system. I age out of the foster care system and group homes at 17, right? And at 17, I moved back in with my mother in Quincy, Massachusetts. So I moved back in with my mother, right? And at this time, I have this dream in my head that basically I'm going to be living a happily ever after. Like, I just had a fucking crazy ass experience for my whole 17 years of living in the foster care system and like all that crazy shit. So I'm like, finally, I'm gonna get to be happy. I'm finally with my family. And that's not what happened. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, yeah, like I'm finally with my family. Everything's gonna be good, right? But when I moved into my mother's and I started to really look around, I played the peacemaker. So a lot of us are the black sheep, right? A lot of us are the black sheep, and that was me as well. So we stay in places a lot longer than we ever should have, right? So if you're the black sheep like myself, you spent a lot of years of your life trying to be the peacemaker in your family, right? Trying to basically get everyone to get along, get everyone to stop fighting, right? So that's what I did, right? I'm thinking that I can fix shit. Like if I just stay here and I make sure my mother and my aunt don't fight, my brother and my mother don't fight, my cousin and my other cousin don't fight. It's like if I'm thinking if I stay here and I can change shit. But that was when I had to basically wake up and smell the coffee too. So I moved back in at 17. I'm realizing again that how fucked up my mother is, right? That's when me and her started to really butt heads because we're around each other 24/7. So, guys, my mother would try to like swing on me. She tried to stab me in the head with a butcher knife one time. So it's like, and I had to like back up and like piece her and shit. Like, and people were saying like, bro, you didn't have to do that. I'm like, bro, my mother was charging at me with a butcher knife to stick it in my head. And they're like, oh, she wouldn't have actually did it. And I'm like, yeah, the fuck she would have, bro. Who you trying to tell that? It's my mother. I know she absolutely would have. So it's like, guys, that's just the type of person my mother was. My mother's fucking crazy, bro. You know? So, and she was struggling with addiction. So it's like, at that time, I was realizing how fucked up everything was. And I would basically get kicked out of my mother's house. So my mother would kick me out, and I would be the only one that would get singled out. So I would be the only one that would get kicked out, and everybody would turn on me because I was, guys, the black sheep. I was trying to be the peacemaker. So everybody would be fighting. I wouldn't get involved in the fight. Everybody would be ganging up on my aunt, and I wouldn't choose sides. Everybody would be ganging up on my mother, and I wouldn't choose sides. And what ended up happening is everybody would point their animosity towards me. So by me trying to make peace in my family, that ended up causing me a lot more pain and heartache than, you know what I'm saying, than it was actually worth. But, like I'm saying, guys, you live and you learn, bro. So all of this basically made me who I am. It basically got me to where I'm at now. And looking back on it, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for everything that happened. I'm thankful for the way everything happened. And so yeah, guys. So now, I'm at the point where I'm like, 17, 18. Every single night at my mother's house was a party, bro. It was a straight turn up. It was a function. You know what I'm saying? People would be fucking on a mattress. Like, crazy shit would be happening. There'd be like fights every single party, like right on point. Every single night, there was always a fight at the end of the night. I don't know what. It was like always a big ass brawl, right? Like, I'm talking about, I'm swinging on, hitting random people and shit. Like, everybody's getting someone's getting stomped out in the living room and shit. It's like that shit happens so frequently, it became normal. And guys, I was just like, looking back on it, like I was fucking out of my mind too. I was having fun. Like, I was like, at that point, I was in straight demon mode, bro. Like, I'm just like excited. Like, yeah, bro, who we beating up tonight? Like, looking at my brother, like, I'm hitting random people in the party for no reason, bro, like just for the fuck of it, you know? So at that time, right, I had to really like realize the hard truth about my family, right? And not just my family, but just like what basically, I think what made me snap when I was like 18 and 19, like what truly made me like finally like lose it, I think it was like when I realized that I've just spent 18 years of my life trying to run to my family that never really gave a fuck. That's what I think really fucking made me go on like a straight, like well, it basically took me to the streets, right? Because I had no choice, but basically that's what made me into the monster, right? One of the last things I remember, right, is my mother was kicking me out again. So my mother would kick me out if I didn't give her drugs, right? If I didn't give my mother drugs or money, she would kick me out, bro. And then if I didn't leave, bro, she would try to like stab me or try to punch me and try to do all this crazy shit, right? So it's like one of the last times she kicked me out, I was like, I had it up to here, bro. I was 18. I remember it clear as day. A lot of my family members were over the house. My aunt was over there, my mother, my uncle, my brother. So my brother and my niece and my nephew, right? So my niece and my nephew were the reason why my brother never got kicked out like that. So I got kicked out and singled out because my brother basically gave my mother her grandkids, right? Her first grandkids. So it's like I was always singled out. I was always kicked out. Like I was never babied, bro. I was never looked out for. I was never given shit. I was getting taken from. I was getting beat. I was getting kicked when I was down. I was getting laughed at, right? And that was what I got. But my brother, on the other hand, he got it, he got it a lot better than me. I'm not gonna lie. It's just what it is. He got, like he always had a place to stay. He never had to worry about that, right? So the last time I got kicked out when I was 18, I remember the rage swelling up inside of me, right? But basically what happened was I told my whole family, right, that, I said, basically made a whole speech. I was angry, bro. I was like, had it up to here. I was like, fuck this whole family. Fuck all of you. You're all fucking fake. I'm all done with y'all, bro. Because I was getting kicked out for like the 100th time for no reason, right? So it's like, I told them, I said, watch what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to go into the streets. And I said, I'm going to make a name for myself. And basically said, I'm going to fucking, like, y'all created a monster, bro. Right? And they all laughed at me. So I remember that feeling. They all laughed at me. They mocked at me. I told my brother, I said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a bigger name than you ever did. I told him that my name's going to ring bells in the streets and your name more than your name ever did, right? And he laughed at me too. He said, yeah, all right. And they all laughed at me and mocked me and shit. But then that's exactly what I did. Right? So at the age of 17 also, now I'm going to go into basically what led me to get into crime, bro, which is pretty kind of obvious, like that what everything I've told you guys that was leading up to. So yeah, eventually, I'm an ex-gang member. I'll just put that out there right now. I've said it before. I'm an ex-gang member, ex-felon, bro, and basically everything that's happened in my life, it's pretty natural, So I joined a gang when I was 17, right? Right when I got out of the foster care system, I joined a gang for family. So I wanted a family, I wanted brothers, and basically that's what also got me into crime a lot more, because I was gangbanging, bro. So it's like, right after I made that speech, and I'm gonna say allegedly, right? I do got a criminal record. I got a like 20-something page criminal record. I got armed robberies. I got assault with a dangerous weapon. I got stabbings. I got gun charges. I got drug deal charges. I got assault on a police officer. Like basically, guys, like I lived a life. I really lived that life. Like you don't gotta believe me if you don't want to, but the truth is out there. So, and what basically people used to call me in the streets, right? So I had a nickname in the hood, right? And when I say my name ring bells, it rang bells. Not just in the jail system, but in the hood. So they gave me the name because I was a crazy white boy, right? Because I would do crazy shit as a white boy. They gave me the name Skits, a schizo. So that's what everybody called me. That's what everybody referred to me as, right? Not schizophrenic or nothing, but that's just what they called me because I was a crazy white boy. And I move around a lot. So I pace around and I'm never standing still, right? So basically that was my name. And I did a lot of fucked up shit. But here's the thing though. I never did it to anyone that was innocent. That's something that I've always held myself in high regards. Like, yes, I made mistakes. I'm far from perfect. But I've never, ever hurt anybody for no reason and someone that was innocent. Like, yes, I have self-defense scenarios. I've allegedly taken out other gang members, other drug dealers, right? I used to mainly, like, selling drugs was my thing for a little while. Like, when I was 18, 19, 20, I used to sell drugs, right? So I used to sell coke. I started out, obviously, with selling weed, right? Started off with selling weed. And then I, like, upgraded to coke. I used to have, like, this Albanian Connect and shit. So I was getting, like, a ball for $90 and selling it for, like, $300 and shit, right? Yo, so what ended up happening? Well, but let me finish what I was about to say. The main thing I used to do was I was a stain man. So allegedly what I would do was I would rob drug dealers. That was my go-to. So if I ever needed a quick come up, I would find a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? And I much rather do that and run up in a crib allegedly, a trap house, than fucking sit there and hustle and sell drugs. But I did that too, right? So guys, rewind back to when I told you that I got kicked out of my mother's house, right? They all laughed at me. They all mocked me. They said, you're not going to do nothing, right? They said, oh, you're telling stories and shit, right? And the look on my mother's face when she realized that everything I was saying was true, right? Because she wasn't just hearing it from me. She was hearing it from other people that came over her house. So I told you my mother used to throw potties, bro. She had other people that were coming up to her and saying, yo, that's your son? Yo, Schizo's your son? Yo, that motherfucker is crazy, bro. And they're like telling my mother all this shit. And then she finally seen, like, that she created a monster, bro. You know what I'm saying? But it's not her fault. But basically, that's what the world created me to be. You know what I'm saying? Monsters are always created. But let me just say also, too, I'm not that now, bro. I'm not that person anymore. I'm really not on that anymore. I don't fight anybody anymore. I'm a law-abiding citizen now, and I follow the Most High God's commandments to the best of my ability. So I'm just giving you guys the full story, bro, from start to finish, and basically that's what God has compelled me to do, so that's what I'm doing. So, like I'm saying, guys, the last thing my mother and my aunt and my brother, they all said before I got kicked out for the last time was they laughed at me. They said, you're not going to do nothing. You're not going to do shit, right? And then I went out and I did that, right? I had an OG and shit. I'm not going to really say any names because I'm not going to incriminate anybody. But basically, I had someone that taught me the game, right? I had someone in Boston that taught me the game, showed me the ropes. And this motherfucker was a scary motherfucker, bro. I'll just say that, bro. This person had bodies, bro. And it was just someone that I was scared of. So someone that I was scared of. I'm not scared of anybody, right? I've never been scared of anybody. I've always had big balls, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's just something I was known for. You know? Like, even now, like, I'm not even in that life anymore. But people would never direct no bullshit at me. Like, they talk behind my back, yes. They gossip and they run their mouth behind my back. But when I'm around, they kiss ass, bro. They dap me up. They fucking smile in my face. And it's like, because they know. They know deep down, like, they know because they've seen it in the past. So they know what I'm capable of. Even though I don't do that shit anymore, it's just what it is. You know? So what ended up happening is I was running around in the streets. I was hitting licks. I was selling now. And basically what ended up happening is I got a 2-bedroom apartment in Manchester, New Hampshire. So my plan for this was, right? So my plan was to get a fucking apartment, which I was 18, right? I had to get some sucker basically to put it in his name, right? But I didn't want it in my name anyways, because I was planning on selling drugs out of it and like turning it into a trap house. So it's like everything I did was allegedly planned and calculated, right? So I had this sucker, bro, that I had him put it in his name, and I basically was selling drugs out of it. I was basically turned it into a trap house. And at this time, I was dating this bad Cambodian chick, right? She was like half Cambodian, half Italian, right? And anyways, guys, back then, I'm just gonna say my love life was fucked up, right? I didn't care about none of that. I was basically just on a mission fueled by rage, and basically I just wanted the world at that time when I was 18, 19, I wanted the world to pay for what it did to me, for the shit I had to go through and everything like that I just told you guys and more. But like I said though, I only targeted drug dealers, I only targeted gang members, they were free game. Now, if it was civilians, they were off limits. So, 18 years old, I got a 2-bedroom apartment, and guys, I see the way my family's looking at me, bro. Jealousy, bro. They were jealous, bro. They were mad. They try to be buddy with me again. They're like, wow, you're 18 and you already got your own place and all this other shit. And it's like, guys, I had a girlfriend, right? So I had a sexy ass girlfriend. She was like a model too, right? Not like a high class model, but she was a pit girl model, right? So I was living the, bro, that was when I was in my prime. So I was selling coke allegedly, and I was robbing drug dealers, right? I was using my girl's car, and I was like robbing drug dealers in the back seat. So I was like basically making her run drills with me and shit, you know? Like, and she was like a farm girl from like Danvers, New Hampshire or some stupid shit, right? So she had no idea about this life. Like, I'm literally robbing drug dealers in her back seat like it's normal, right? Doing this shit like it's like casual. And I remember she was apologizing to the drug dealer. She's like, I'm so sorry about this. I'm like, yo, don't apologize. Like, the fuck, right? So anyways, guys, at that time, I will say I was a piece of shit. I was a piece of shit, right? I treated her badly, right? I cheated on her. I was just a piece of shit because I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care about nothing. So it's like, I do take responsibility for myself. I always have had no problem taking accountability and responsibility for myself. And that's the difference between me and most people, is in they're in denial, right? But I've healed, I've self-reflected, and I've come a long fucking way from what I'm telling you guys about now, right? But this is what I plan to do tonight. I plan to put the full truth out there, right? So I'm fucking doing all this crazy shit. I'm 18. I got my 2-bedroom apartment. And now I'm starting to build a crew, right? So this was also my plan, because I knew for what I was trying to do, I couldn't do it by myself, right? So I needed like soldiers. I needed people that would ride out for me. I needed loyal soldiers that I could basically tell to go kick someone's head in and go get this money and go do that. And they do it, right? So one of them was one of my best friends, right? And again, I'm not going to say names in this, but basically he's my best friend, bro. Like, I considered him a brother, bro. But he eventually betrayed me too, bro. So we'll get into that eventually. But what ended up happening is I had 2 brothers under me, bro. I had my second seat in command, and I was basically making my own set, my own gang that was stationed out in New Hampshire, right? So we're in Manchester, New Hampshire. We're allegedly robbing every local drug dealer, and we're trying to allegedly take over, right? A lot of crazy shit's happening. We were beefing with a blood set from out there. So at that time, I was beefing with the blood set, and the shit was getting crazy. So shit was getting crazy. But I can't really go into too much stuff like that, because I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and incriminate myself. But basically, guys, that's the life I was living, right? And what ended up happening is I had a small little crew under me. So I had 10 people under me. At this time, I'm 18 years old. I'm dating this chick from the fucking country, right? She's a really good girl, right? She's like a rich girl. She was taller than me and shit. She was like probably like 6'1", 6'2", right? So she was like Cambodian and Italian, and she was a pit girl model, right? And I told you guys, back then I was a piece of shit. I was a piece of shit because I didn't care, right? So I had my mission in my head, and nothing was gonna come in between what I was trying to do. And I was allegedly selling coke out of my trap house. So out of my 2-bedroom apartment, what I did was I threw parties every single night. So I threw parties every single night, and I had bitches from SNHU. So I had SNHU girls in there. I had college girls in there, bro. And basically, I had like my few people, like my few trusted people, which was under 10 people, allegedly selling my drugs out of the party house, right? And like when I say back then my house was the spot, like people wouldn't even try to go to the club. They're like, yo, we're gonna go to Skitz's crib. Oh, we're gonna show up over there. Like I had to have security standing at the door. And security was basically my boys that basically had the thing on them, bro. They had the 9 on them, bro. And we never used the front door, so we only used the back door. So anybody that knocked on the front door was either a op or the police, right? And it's like, guys, like I was running this shit like a whole operation, bro. So because it was. So what ended up happening is the more traumatic things I was going through, right? I told you guys I was gangbanging at the time, selling drugs. I was even allegedly pimping, right? So I had like 2 other girls and shit. They were baddies and shit, but I can't go into too much shit. That's why I gotta say allegedly, right? And I was doing this basically, shit, bro. It was survival of the fittest. That's really what it was. I had no other options at that time, but I think a lot of it too was I wanted to prove my family wrong. Cause I told you guys, like I told my family, like, yo, watch this, bro. I'm gonna go out there in the streets and I'm gonna make a name for myself, bro. And they all laughed at me and shit. So that's exactly what I did. I went out there, bro, and I became a fucking monster, bro. And then I started catching cases, right? My first big case, I was all over the news. I was 18 years old, and me and my right-hand man basically got jammed up, and we were looking at 15 years. We were looking at 15 to 20 years. Am I Italian? Oh, yo, what's up, Truth? I didn't even see you in here, bro. Hell yeah, bro. I'm Sicilian like a motherfucker, bro. Siciliano. Yo, shout out to Truth, bro. Yo, you missed a lot of shit, bro. You missed like the whole testimony, bro. But yo, I'm gonna leave it up so everybody can watch it on replay, right? So what basically happened, right, is, bro, I had like a whole operation at 18 years old. Like my ego was up to here, bro. I was allegedly selling coke out of my trap, right? I was fucking, bro, I was like, I had a bad bitch, bro. Like she was like half Cambodian, half Italian, bro. I was fucking all of her friends that like, yo, bro, I was on some bullshit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and guys, like, so my first big case was when I was 18, right? And it was with me and my right-hand man's. I'm not going to say any names because we can't do that, bro. Even though I don't live that life anymore, you just don't do that, right? So it was me and my right-hand man's, and we was all over the news, bro, because one of the plugs we hit allegedly ended up ratting, bro. So he ended up getting chefed up. So allegedly the paperwork said on the news that I chefed him up, right? And so we was looking at assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, right? And armed robbery because the dude's whip got stolen, right? So the plug's whip got stolen, the plug's work got stolen, the plug's money got stolen, and it's like he ran down the street screaming, help, help, like a bitch, and he snitched. So it's like that ended up happening, but because of the operation I was running with and the shit I was doing, bro, I told my mans, I said, we're gonna be good, bro. Don't even worry about it, bro. Like, yeah, we had to sit for a few months, but we was good. I'm like, bro, the reason why we was good too is because allegedly at the time we did it, it was during a party. And the way I allegedly planned this shit was fucking perfect, because the report said that 20 people were leaving the premises. Yo, they charged me with rioting. They charged me with rioting, bro. I didn't even know what the fuck that was. So 20 people were leaving the premises, and I allegedly did that for a reason, right? Because it's like, they don't know who's who. So you only grab 2 people. You grab me and my right-hand mans, right? And the victim was so disoriented, he fucked up in his testimony. He like said, no, I think it was him. I think it was that. He said some racist shit too, bro. He was basically like, he pointed out like 5 black dudes in a lineup. Yo, me and my boy was laughing at it because my boy's Haitian, right? So I'm like, I was like, yo, you lucky, bro. That motherfucker was racist and shit, right? Because I'm like, yo, he picked like 5 black dudes he's like in the lineup. So, my co-defendant's lawyer tore that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, tore that shit up. Like, Your Honor, how do we know? You know, he said a black guy. Like, he picked the wrong guy in the lineups and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that shit was kind of funny, right? But what ended up happening is we were looking at 15 to 20 years. It was a big thing, right? And I was on the run, right? My right-hand man, right? He turned himself in. So he ended up turning himself in. But we talked. Like, we talked beforehand. I allegedly had to, I was the brains, allegedly, right? So I had to tell everyone what to do. Everybody was coming up to me like, yo, Skits, what do we do, bro? Like, yo, da-da-da-da-da. Like, that motherfucker's snitching. Like, I'm like, all right, bro, yo, give me a sec. All right, bro, grab this, shut the lights off, lock the door, allegedly clean up the crime scene, allegedly, right? And do this and do that. And everybody's just doing it, right? My ex-girlfriend was freaking out, right? Because she's like a farm girl, bro. So she used to do like horseback riding. So she didn't know nothing about that, bro. Like, she didn't know, like, you know, some Boston white boy on some like straight hood trenches shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, she had no experience with gang members, no experience with like none of that shit. So it's like I brought her into that too, which I feel fucked up over. I should have never did that. It's fucked up, right? I'm allegedly hitting licks in this bitch's backseat. Bro, crazy. So what ended up happening is that was like my first big case. I sat for a few months and then went to trial, and the victim couldn't fucking, it was he said, she said shit. You know what I'm saying? My lawyer tore that shit apart, bro. So, guys, some of us have really lived this life, bro, and it's like, I find it funny because, like, when I try to tell people this shit, they look at you like you're fucking crazy, or they look at you like, oh, there's no way, bro, because they've never lived anything like that, right? But guys, I'm 28 years old, bro. Like, I'm doing this right now, and the only reason I'm bringing all this up is because I literally felt compelled to by the Most High. Like, I felt God, like, nudging me the past 2 or 3 days to get on here, and the thought kept popping up in my head, like, get on here, get on YouTube Live, and it kept coming to me, and say your whole testimony, like, from beginning to finish. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I feel compelled to do, right? And for anybody that's out there and that relates to this, right? I know Truth and a few other people, like, you know, God's gonna use me through my testimony, and the real ones are gonna relate, and then the monitoring spirits and all the haters and all the fucking little weirdos and shit, they're gonna start dissecting it too, and I already know what it is, but it's like, it's all good, you know? So, last thing I left off was, I'm 18 years old, At that time, I'm still gangbanging, right? I'm still selling. And what ended up happening is after a lot of fucked up shit was still happening, bro, I was losing people, right? So one of my best friends got killed. A lot of fucked up shit was happening, right? With my family. I started basically getting high on my own supply. So that's like why I ended up getting into fucking using too. I was selling. I started, I started, I started sniffing my own shit, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. It's like, that's what it was, bro. Like, life was hitting, bro. And that's when I started getting into coke and shit, right? And I was doing some crazy shit, right? Like, I was like sniffing lines off of like bitches' asses and shit, and like doing some crazy shit, right? But guys, I told you, bro, I'm putting it all out here, bro. Like, there's nothing that's off limits for me tonight unless it's something that I literally legally can't talk about. So if I legally can't talk about it without going to jail, then I'm not gonna say it, bro, obviously. But it's like, I'm gonna give you guys a picture of the life I used to live, right? So those next few years were me struggling with addiction. I'm starting to get high on my own supply, bro. And it's like I started watching everybody switch up on me. I realized nobody really ever, they respected me, but a lot of people feared me more, right? So they only like dick rided me, or only like were friends with me, and they only treated me that way because they didn't want to be on my bad side, bro. They didn't want me to hurt them, bro. Or they didn't like, so it's like I had to realize that. And when I call it my fall from glory. Like, that's how I state it, because that's exactly what it was. You know, like, when Lucifer fell out of heaven, I mean, I wasn't Lucifer, but at that time, I was living like a demon. I was living on a very low vibration. So that was my fall from, you guys know what I'm saying. I probably could have came up with a better analogy, but that's what I got. So my name was like, bro, my name rang bells, bro. Everybody knew me, bro. Everybody knew my hood name. I had like the bitches that were on me, guys. You guys wouldn't believe it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's another thing too. Like, I really struggle with my lust a lot too. And I used to cheat on all my girlfriends, bro. And it's like, I don't know, guys. I used to move fucking like a demon. So what ended up happening is it was like a cycle of being in and out of jail. Again, for hitting licks, bro. All the times I got caught were because a hood dude snitched on me, bro. So I got ratted on. Only times I've ever got bagged were because someone ratted on me. That's it. I've never got caught on my own, ever. Which is crazy, but that's the truth, right? And like I said, guys, I got a 20-something page record, bro. It was a constant cycle. That was my life, bro. You know what I'm saying? But let me say again, too, I never did shit to anybody that was innocent. So anybody that is trying to say that, or anybody trying to tell you that, oh, he's dangerous, watch out for him. It's like, bro, if you're not doing anything to me, if you're not trying to hurt me, or you're like, then I wouldn't have never did anything to you. So the people I allegedly hurt were gang members. So they were fair game, right? They were drug dealers. And it's like, it was people in the same life that I was in, right? So I had principles. I had lines that I did not cross, right? I did bad things, yes. I sinned a lot, but I never crossed those lines. And I pan on the Bible, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, guys, that was my life for like the next few years after I was 18. And then basically what ended up happening is, fast forward to, I met this chick, right? I met like, you been there too? Yeah, bro, true. So I already know, bro, like motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't understand, bro. They don't know what we're talking about, bro. So it's like, yo, true, you know, when we don't even like explain this shit, because we know it's like we're basically speaking to fucking zombies, bro. Like, me and my older brother were talking about it yesterday. my brother Tone and shit, we were like, bro, we don't even like, because it's like, I'm speaking for the ones that are able to hear, right? So it's like, I'm speaking for you, Truth, and anybody else that can actually understand and relate to what I'm saying. And anybody else, I'm not speaking for them, bro. So they're not gonna be able to understand. They're gonna think what I'm doing right now is stupid. They're gonna be like, oh, why would you, like, they're gonna basically see it as weak. They're gonna see it as, why would you put dirt on yourself? It's like, because they're still living out of their ego, and they're still operating out of a low vibration, right? They don't understand the power of truth. They don't understand the power and the level of spirituality you have to be on to do what I'm doing right now. They don't get that. They think it's stupid, right? But they don't get that by doing this, you literally level up when you do this. People don't get it. If you go and stand in front of a whole podium and speak your truth with no shame, you're coming from a place of being healed, right? And you're speaking from a positive intention, right? God is going to literally bless you for that. He's going to literally open up opportunities and just watch how your life gets better. That's all I'll say, right? Don't take my word for it. Just go do it yourself, right? Start telling people the truth about yourself and watch what happens. Watch. That's all I'll say, right? That's all I'll say on that. God loves the truth. He doesn't like lies, bro, you know? And we've all lied before, right? A lot of the times I would lie, it was to protect myself, you know? So if I lie to someone, it's because I'm using my discernment, and I know this person's on bullshit, and I know this person's trying to fucking set me up or trying to use the information I tell them against me. So of course I'm gonna lie to you, you know? But now about myself and about who I am, I've never lied about who I am. So guys, back to what I was saying about my testimony. For those next few years, I was in and out of jail, catching gun cases, selling drugs, drug cases, violent cases, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. My last big case, which was like 2.5 years ago probably, was allegedly another stabbing, right? That shit happened right before I moved down here to Florida, so like 2.5 years ago. But what they won't say is that it was allegedly a self-defense case. They're not gonna say that, right? Because the victim was a gang member, and he was basically, he fucking lied, bro. He lied in the paperwork, right? So that cycle was basically my life, because that's all I've ever known, and I had no other choice, bro. It was either, it was survival of the fittest. So it was like, yo, how am I gonna get this next bag? How am I gonna, figure out where am I gonna go? How am I gonna figure out a place to stay? And that shit wears on you, right? I've had people try to take my life. I've had a few people almost succeed, right? I had someone stab me, bro, and hit my artery in my leg, squirting blood everywhere and shit. I've had bullets past my head, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've chased people through cribs that shot at me, bro. Someone's shooting at me, but they're shooting at the ground. I've chased them through cribs as they're shooting at me, guys. So it's like, going through situations like that, that shit is gonna wear and tear on your mind, right? And that's why a lot of us got PTSD right now. And a lot of people, they'll never be able to understand that. They'll look at it like, oh, whoa, why don't you want to fuck with people anymore? I'm like, bro, you don't understand the levels of shit I've seen. You don't understand we understand, some of us understand how dark and how evil society really is because we were in that. We were around it, right? Like, I was going toe-to-toe with the most dangerous motherfuckers in society. I was taking out, when I say taking out, I mean like not unaliving, but I was taking out murderers, drug dealers, gang members. I was basically getting W's on the most dangerous people in society, in jail and out of jail. So it's like, that's what got my reputation in the streets. So, I mean, ringing bells and shit, right? I mean, I took L's too, right? I got jumped and shit too. I've been caught, right? That's what happens when you fight every single day. When you're a fucking warrior, bro, you're gonna take some L's, right? I took 2 L's in jail too, right? But I was going up against unbeatable odds, fucking professional boxers and shit that I didn't back down. I still fought knowing I had no chance of winning, right? So it's like, I've always had heart, bro. I've always had balls, bro. That was something about me, bro. Like, I would fight anybody, you know? It doesn't matter, bro. If they had a gun, it doesn't matter. If they had a knife, doesn't matter. I'd still do it for what I believed in, for what I thought was right. I would fight, and a lot of people are not built like that, and I'm still that way. But the only difference is I fight for God now. So now I fight for the Most High. I'll still die behind my beliefs, right? But it's like I'm not putting my energy into anything that's of a low vibration anymore. So that's the only difference. So for the past 2 years, a little bit over 2 years, since I moved from Boston to Florida, I completely changed my life around, completely got sober, completely basically like, guys, I like evolved on so many levels I can't even articulate. Like, I can't even like, well, basically everything I just said in that video that I was doing and more to not doing that. Like, that's like a miracle in itself. And I mean, it's because of God, right? It's obviously because of all the glory goes to God, but I got to give myself some credit too, because I pulled myself out of places that most people don't ever get out of. It like, I've seen it kill stronger men than me. I've seen it kill more gangster men than me, men that were like way more fucking on that than I was, and it took them out. You know what I'm saying? So it's very respectable to see someone come from, you know, the hood in that life, bro. Like, if you used to gangbang and you used to live that life, bro, and you got out of that, I don't know, in my eyes, bro, it's like, I respect you. It's like, it's very respectable, because it's like, I understand what that takes more than anybody else would, right? So I understand, yeah, facts, true. Like, I can look at you and be like, damn, bro, that motherfucker's a warrior right there, bro. Like, this dude's a fucking dog, bro. Like, what? He got out of the hood, bro? Yo, what? He don't live that life anymore, bro? Like, that's the most gangsterish thing you could possibly do. Because it's like, people don't understand anything. One false move, bro, one wrong move could land us right back in that life. It's just a matter of seeing the wrong person. That's it. That's why they say every prophet got to leave his hometown, right? Because it's like, I realized that too. I realized that if I stayed in my city, I would never have any chance of getting to where I'm at right now. I would have no chance. Because all it would literally take is for me to see one person, right? See my beef, see someone I chill with, see a bitch, right? And it's like, see one person, that's all it took. And then I would be right back at square one. In and out of jail, bro. Getting fucked up, getting high, bro. Allegedly robbing drug dealers, bro, doing crazy shit, right? And God brought me out of that. God brought me out of that life. And for that, I'm thankful. But like I said, I understand what that takes. It takes the type of strength and the type of willpower that, I'm just going to put it blankly, that average men don't have. Average men do not have that type of willpower and that type of strength. Want to know why? Because it's the type of strength you're not born with, that you got to literally earn. You literally got to be forged through fire, like they say. Through trials and tribulations, through climbing out of hell, through everybody betraying you, right? Like, I told you about my best friends and stuff, my right-hand mans, that I gave these dudes a place to stay. I gave them jobs, bro. Like, you know, when I say jobs, bro, I gave them basically everything, bro. I put them on, bro, showed them love, showed them loyalty, gave them a family, bro, right? And basically they snaked me, right? The other white boy, right? So the third seat in my set that I was making in New Hampshire, right? when I basically had the 2-bedroom was I had my right-hand man, which was my Haitian boy, right? And then I had a third seat, which was a white boy that I seen potential in, right? He was getting bullied and shit, right? But I seen potential in him. I seen like a part of myself in him, and I knew he just needed a push. He needed someone to believe in him to bring that, but I wasn't trying to bring the good out of him. I was trying to bring the bad out of him. I was trying to bring, and I had a keen eye for that. I still had my spiritual gifts, but I was using them for the wrong shit. I was using them to basically outsmart everyone around me. I was using them to come up, to get the drop on people. So it's like, and I was able to bring that side of that white boy out of him, right? And he basically, because he started getting a name in the street, right? Because I'd send him, I'd be like, yo, go kick that motherfucker's head in, go run up on him, and like, he's allegedly putting knives to fucking dudes' throats and doing the jobs that I allegedly gave him, right? But it's going to his head. His head's getting gassed up. So he started to challenge me and shit, right? So he started to just, I don't know, he started to overstep. He started to get disrespectful, right? Because now his head's all blown up, right? Everybody's starting to like dick ride him now too, like they do, but not like they did me, right? But it's like he's starting to get attention. He's starting to get recognition. Like people are they know him for being in my crew, being under me, right? So it's like he fucking ended up starting to challenge me, right? He started to challenge me, started to beef with me and shit. And eventually he stabbed me in the back. He snaked me, right? But it's like, guys, having everyone that you thought was your family or you thought cared about you betray you is a whole nother type of pain, bro, that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, bro. So these, like, I've been literally betrayed, set up, fucking you name it, bro, by like everybody that was around me, bro. And there's a reason why I don't fuck with anybody right now, right? It's not because I can't. I can be around people. I just choose not to. And it's not even anything that's personal. It's how I choose to live. I like to protect my peace and I like to do what I want to do, right? So let me get back to the story, bro. Let me go into the positive aspects now. Now that I've given you guys all that information, right? And there's so much more to, guys. Like, I'll probably make a part 2 of this, right? And like I said, I'm going to leave it up so you guys can watch it on replay. But now let me go into how I changed my life around, right? I've said this many times. I'll say it again. For the past 2.5 years, guys, ever since I moved to Florida, I got out of all that shit. I gave up gangbanging, bro. I gave up the fucking going to jail, bro. Living that life, guys. I have been a law-abiding citizen. I don't bother anybody. I am no longer involved in anything, right? I stay to myself. I'm literally out here in Florida. I don't even know anybody. And I like it, you know? Like, I wouldn't even know how to get into trouble, even if I wanted to, you know? So, and I'm happy for that. I live a peaceful life, and I live the life I choose to live, right? Yeah, facts, truth. And truth, you know exactly what we go through, right? So, another reason why it's so important for us to share our testimony is because we got people that are actively lying on our names with these smear campaigns, everything they're doing, right? So by doing what I'm doing now, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because now anybody that watches this, they're going to hear the truth. So they're going to hear the full story. They're going to hear, oh, damn, wait a minute. He went through all that shit, right? And it's like, I didn't even talk about how, like, everything I've lost and everything that's happened to me, right? Yup, they're bringing up our past currently. Yeah, but truth, they don't even do it. They don't do it righteously, though. They lie. It's like they might take something, they might take little half-truths and they'll blow it out of proportion, or they'll just make up straight lies, bro. You know? I've always been honest about who I am. If I'm not doing shit, I'm not doing shit. You know? So it's like, guys, like, the last thing that basically what brought me to God, I said this many times too, is my mother dying in my arms. So my mother dying in my arms from a heroin overdose, and that's not even like, I've lost way more people than that. I've lost like one of the women I've loved, you know what I'm saying? Like drugs, crime, gang shit. That shit has literally taken out everybody I've ever cared about and everybody I've ever loved. But here's the thing, I don't use that as an excuse to go around and bother people. I don't do what these people do. These people that are involved in the program, bro, that are involved in the targeted individual program, they have no excuse to do what they're doing. They have no excuse to be breaking the law. They have no excuse to be trying to torture me and harm other people that are just trying to survive. That they feel like they're God, right? They feel like we don't deserve to have happiness and love. And it's like, who made them God, right? And it's like, they sit there and they judge us for shit that they would never be, bro, they would have hung it up by now. If they experienced 1% of what I've experienced, I look at these people and I see the weakness, the insecurity, and I'm not even talking shit, I'm just talking facts, right? I see the fucking frailness and the weakness coming off these same people that laugh at me. And it's like, they're laughing at me because they're projecting. They understand deep down how weak they are and how sensitive they are. And it's like, they're just basically confessing to me how intimidated they are, how jealous they are, right? They don't realize the psychology behind it. Because they don't realize that when someone walks in an establishment, right? And I'm minding my business, right? I don't say anything to them and I'm minding my business. I have a smile on my face. I'm chilling, maybe listening to some music, like shooting, talking, say hi, how you doing, right? And now they're sitting on the sidelines, seething and talking shit and laughing. They don't get that that's a confession. They don't get that that's them confessing. That's them basically saying, I'm upset, I'm bothered, you're triggering me. They don't get that. They don't understand that they're basically making themselves look bad. And this is why they do it in groups, right? They do it in large numbers, so they could basically co-sign each other's weakness, right? So if they get 50 people that are all insecure and all weak, and they've never been through anything, right? They've never been through anything that we've been through, right? So it's like, it makes them feel better about themselves when there's other weak people around them, right? And listen, I wouldn't even call them all weak if they weren't weak. If they actually did the work and did the self-reflecting and became better people, then I would respect them. But I don't respect them because they carry themselves like cowards, like bitches. So I was like, I don't know, maybe it's the way I was brought up, but I can never respect anybody that has a problem or that feels some type of way and doesn't say anything to me. I don't respect that. It's not respectable. It's pussy, right? And that goes for any fucking walk in life, dude. And I don't care where you're from. If you're from the streets, you're from the country, it does not matter, bro. If you're a grown man and you're smiling in my face, dude, and you're fucking telling me, you fuck with me, and then you're trying to actively sabotage me and you're gossiping like a feminine ass fucking bitch, like that's weak. That's weak, pure weakness, right? And that's why these people are never worth our energy. Like, if you're going through organized stalking and if you're in the program, just guys, ignore these people. They're weak. They're not even worth it. So it's like, bro, you can't even step to me and you got a whole army. So it's like, they got a whole army and they got the resources, they got the money, but they're scared to bring the smoke to you, right? I just made a video about this on TikTok, guys. We're almost at 5,000 followers. Praise the Lord. But I said that these people have a problem with you, but they do not want a problem with you, if you get what I'm saying. They have a problem with you, but they don't want a problem with you. That's why they act the way they do. There are Tupac songs that says you ain't shit without they homeboys. Yeah, bro, that's literally them. And you know what's fucking crazy, Truth? Is they're still not shit with their homeboys. Like, Truth, they don't know how much we really know because we don't reveal it, right? But it's like I watch them show up at the same places I go to, and they bring their boys with them, right? Because they're scared, bro, right? So they bring like 2 of their boys so they can start feeling tough and they can start, they could build up each other's confidence. And they're still bitches. I try not to, bro, but it's just the street comes out of me sometimes, and I'll intentionally go near them. I'll eventually walk near them and I'll test them. I'll give them that look that's like, do something, say something. And it's like, I shouldn't do that. I know it's wrong, but it's like if 4 dudes just showed up at a place because they had a problem with me, but they're too pussy to say they have a problem with me, and they're coming for me, right? But they're not coming for me. It's like, nah, bro. Sometimes you pick and choose your battles. If you're going through this program, everybody will tell you to ignore every single thing. And you know what? Maybe that is the best advice. You should ignore 90% of it, but in some cases, you should respond. I believe 10% of the time, don't give them a reaction that's out of emotion, that's out of like a quick reaction. Do it calculated. Do it because you've thought about it and you know the effect it's gonna have, right? So, like what I did, the last one of the things I did, right? Which guy, truth, you're gonna laugh at this. I pissed them the fuck off, bro. They went crazy, bro. But I basically rage baited them, right? So what I did was they were all doing the little, right? They were walking by me doing the, right? So I started calling them pussies, right? And there was one of them outside of the liquor store. He looked at me, he seen me, he registered. I could see his face, he registered like he knew who I was. And then he looked at me and went, right? Like they normally do. And as he did that, I looked him in his eyes and I said, you fucking pussy. Bro, I called him a pussy right to his face. But you know what was funny? I called him a pussy right to his face. He tried to say, hey, how you doing? Right? He tried to cough, bro. They'll literally cough and they're such bitches, right? They're so weak that they'll actually try to pretend they're sick. Like these people will go get cough drops at the store to try to that's how scared they are, right? Because they're doing it for the money, bro. They're doing it to get paid. They don't even want to do it. You could tell, right? But sometimes I'll make them regret doing it. I'll call them pussies. And I did, I called this dude a pussy and he put his head down. He put his head down and started laughing. I think I called 2 of them pussies. I called another old man. There was another old man with his wife and he did it right after. And I looked at him too and I was like, you're a pussy too. Guys, and when I did that, when I did that shit, they went crazy. They started coming out of everywhere trying to mob me and shit, and I was laughing. They got even more mad because I was laughing. I was like, you guys I'm right here, bro. Like, do something. Set it off on me, bro. Do something. Like, I just basically punked them. And if you know these people, they're narcissists, right? So these people have a God complex, and they do not like it when you punk them, right? But they were trying to trigger me, right? And I ended up triggering all of them. I rage baited all of them. That's what I planned to do. I wanted to get them to all fucking bug out. I wanted to get them all mad, and I did. I changed all of their moods by calling 2 of them pussies. They didn't do shit, right? Check out my comment I wrote before the Tupac. Hold on, I got you, Troop. You said, yup, they bringing. It says, yup, they bringing. Wait, what'd you say, bro? I couldn't even see it. But yeah, bro, these people are fucking soft, bro. Like, I don't even all of them. Every single one of them. I'm like, it's true because they've never lived the life we've lived. Like, they know we're on that. I've realized that there's a reason why they don't direct anything at us is because they know better. They know our history, bro, And just telling you guys what I've told you guys in this live, if they know that, which I'm pretty sure they do, it's like, bro, they'd be stupid. That's why they do the coward-ass, pussy-ass shit they do, because they know better. And it's like, damn, they got a whole fucking group with them. They got a group, they got an army, bro, but they still can't do shit. That's sad. Because they know we'd fight all of them on the spot. But yeah, anyways, guys, I'm glad I came on here. I'm glad I gave this full testimony, bro. Let me just say too, right? There's a reason why a lot of us are the way we are, right? And it doesn't make us bad people, bro. Like, everything I've been through, I have every excuse to be a fucking menace to society, dude, right? But these people, they have no excuses. And look what they're doing. They're trying to torture people. They're fucking hurting kids and shit. They're trafficking kids, right? And then you got someone like me that made mistakes, but I mind my own business. I don't feed into the bullshit. I do what I want to do. I mind my business. I don't bother anybody. And they get mad because of that. I'm telling you. Yeah, facts. That's a fact, Truth. Yo, Truth, the reason why they play these little games is because they're obsessed with us and they know that we don't give a fuck about them. They know that. They know the only way this shit will work is if they keep reminding us that they're there. They have to. We don't even know these people's names. And the funniest thing, we don't care. We really don't care. Because it's like, what? Who gives a fuck? Why would I care about someone that doesn't even have the balls to make themselves known? That means they're not on our level, bro. And they think that, oh, I got more money than you. That doesn't mean shit. I'll punch you in your face and take that money. These people don't have power like they think they do, you know? If I was back on, if they met the old me, none of that shit would be null and void, bro. They know that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. And it's like, I think they know that deep down. I think they know they're cowards. They have to. How they operate, it's just so petty and laughable. It's like, bro, we can never take that shit serious, ever. Right? Like, my discernment, guys, God has literally made my discernment so fucking powerful that I don't just see the tactics they do, I see why they're doing it. So I see like one of the bitches that does what they're doing, and I see like the straight insecurity coming off of her, and like the fact that she wants to be validated, and the fact that she wants everyone's attention, and she wants to be liked by everybody because she's insecure about her body and insecure about basically everything about herself. So she tries to bully people and like basically strangers, and she tries to put others down because she feels down about herself, right? And it's like, I can see all that. So it's like, if I can see that truth, why would you're not even worth my time. It's like, I know why you're doing it. You're insecure. So it's like, it's an illusion. Yo, Truth, you already know what's up with this shit too, bro. Like, you already know what time it is, right? The few of us that do know what time it is, we're a fucking problem to these people, right? We're a problem because we're stronger than them. We're smarter than them. We're more gifted than they are. That's why they got to do what they do. And it still don't work. Yo, guys, they got to go form armies and do all this planning, put all these thousands of dollars, all this resources, all this stalking, wasting times of their life. They're over here sacrificing animals, children, their whole lifespans, and then nothing's working. Or something will maybe work for like 20 minutes, and then we'll pray and we'll heal and we'll transmute the energy. And it's like, they just look at the price they're paying. They don't even get it. And we're not even focused on them. That's like that's what I try to say. Like, the more we give them, the more validation they get. Because they only get validated when we give them attention, right? So they just want to be, they're like little kids waving their hands around. They're like, yo, look at me, I'm over here, look at me. And it's like, they just want us to look at them. They want us to pay attention, right? And then when you don't, that's the best thing you could do to them. Because they're narcissists. So when you ignore a narcissist, what do? They feel infuriated because they want their psychological torture and their abuse. If you don't validate their abuse, what happens to a narcissist? they bug out, bro. They start malfunctioning. So I'm telling you guys, that's all these people are, bro. They're weak. Yo, you know how easy it is to manipulate a narcissist? Very easy. You just play off of their ego. So a narcissist wants to feel like God, right? They want to feel like they're the savior and all this other shit. So you let them feel that way. Or you fucking ignore them. Whatever you want to do, it's pretty easy. You know? And guys, like I said, I mean, the last thing I will say, right, because my phone's on 10% right now. I got a lot of testimony out in this, bro. This shit was very powerful, bro. I talked about a lot of stuff. Basically how I got brought up, everything I've seen, everything I've been through. But now let me say, I've literally changed my whole entire life, bro. I've got all, bro, like the miracle in itself of coming from what I've came from and to survive, to live, to tell about it. I got fucking battle wounds on me and shit, knife wounds on me and shit, like fucking like straight like warrior fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like to come from that life, ex-gang member, ex-felon, ex-addict, to fucking over 2 years of none of that and just straight evolution, right? Guys, the more we vibrate higher and the more we do things with the positive heart posture and we do things for the Most High, guys, like how rapidly I've evolved is like I can't articulate it. Like how like I feel how smarter I've gotten, how more strategic, how stronger. Now I really know that there's nothing nobody can ever do to me. There's nothing anybody can take from me. There's nothing anybody can physically do to me. There's nothing anybody can sabotage that I'm not ready for. That would really affect me. Because that's what this world's made me to be. And because I got the protection of the Most High, that's what makes me unstoppable. It makes me untouchable to these people. So, guys, that's all I'm going to say right now. Everybody that's been watching, man, everybody that's going to watch on replay, I appreciate you guys for watching, bro. Shout out to Truth too, man. Good to see you, bro. Always in here, man. And for everybody else, man, I hope you got something from this, man. It's why I do it, man. And most importantly, I do it because the Most High, I told you guys I was feeling compelled to get on here and share my testimony and my story and everything I came from and everything I used to live, right? To let you know and everybody else know that if you're involved in that life right now, if you've literally lived 1% of anything I just said, look at me, bro. If I can do it, I used to be a fuck up, bro. If I can do it, you can do it. It's just the only way you're going to be able to do it is if you have God in your life, bro. Is if you have God in your life and you fight. If you... You can do it, bro. Just understand, for all the people out there, I don't care if you're a gang member, bro, if you're into drugs, bro, if you're fucking in the streets, right? You can get out of that, bro. And you'll probably have to do what I did, right? You probably have to leave. That's the number one best bet, is to leave your hometown. Jesus himself had to leave his hometown. Every prophet has to leave their hometown because a prophet is never accepted in their hometown, right? Every single person that I grew up with was never able to see me for who I truly am now. They're only able to see me for the monster I used to be, right? For the street person I used to see, right? So they're not able to see me anymore. They only see my past self. So guys, that's all I'm gonna say. For those of you that don't know me, I'll say it one more time. I'm Lenny. I'm with the Loyal Link brand. Make sure you go check out my TikTok if you haven't. That's where I have most of my following, almost 5,000 followers. The Most High God is using my testimony and my content to reach the masses, bro. And I got nothing but more testimony, bro, more wisdom, more powerful content to post and to give you guys. So if you really want to support me, make sure you hit a sub on this channel and make sure you go check out my TikTok at loyallink_Lenny. That's loyal and then link_Lenny. Everybody, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your night. God bless. I'm out of here.